Hey, Justin here with Stay at Home Dads Podcast. Welcome back to the show, the talk show, the talk. Well, I don't know if I want to be associated with the talk. Isn't that a show where a bunch of women sit around in a circle and complain about everything? Anyways, I hope I don't complain about everything. I know I kind of talk about a lot of heavy topics or serious topics, and shocker, I have another one. Kind of struggle with this myself on a regular basis, and that's having bad days. Mentally, at least, having a bad day. I'm not talking about getting pulled over or burning the pot roast or stubbing your toe. I'm kind of more talking about mental struggle, mentally having a bad day. You're irritable, any small things that your kids do or your spouse does that in some way or another seem to irritate you or bother you. I don't really know how to explain it, but nothing bad particularly happens during the day, but I just tend to get into a really shitty mood. Do you kind of know what I mean? It's almost that I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. You know, that saying that we kind of tell our kids in the morning when they're grumping. Anyways, I hope you can kind of relate with me a bit here. I mean, be honest with yourself, right? Have you ever had a day or days where everything seems annoying, nothing seems worthwhile, you're already feeling like you're not going to accomplish anything that day, or maybe it's the end of the day and you straight up haven't accomplished anything? Can you kind of relate with that? I know I felt this way before, probably a lot more than I'm willing to admit, but here I am, I guess, talking about it. So now I think what gets me here, or gets me to that point sometimes, is my motivation and my procrastination. I know I've talked about it actually a few weeks ago on this show, and when I get things done or crossed off my list, you know I like lists, I feel great. I'm positive, my attitude's good, I have a great outlook for the day. But when I don't, or I think about crap too much, or I dwell on things, my mindset and my mood can really kind of spiral and just go down. And maybe for me, at least being a parent that stays home, I don't really have that outlet. My day is not really broken up by a normal job that I used to have a few years ago. So all these things that I want to get done or things that I need to get done are just staring at me in the face all day long. But I think feeling this way or having these tough days is not just unique to me. So hopefully you can relate or understand where I'm coming from. For example, it's easy for me, and I imagine for you too, to sit on my phone. It's easy. Skim social media. Watch some news on the TV. Watch 2 or 3 or 4 YouTube videos or something. And then you look at the time and you realize that, oh crap, 4 hours has just gone by. You're like, oh shit, you know? Then I look at my list that I make and I haven't even crossed anything off. Not even the most basic thing that I would like to cross off is not crossed off. And to top it all off, my older daughter is getting off the bus in 18 minutes. So I know a bunch of my must-dos are coming. Get her off the bus, get food cooked, get baths done, get, teeth brushed, get house picked up, stuff like that. I know those are coming down the pipe. I can't ignore that stuff, right? That's what I think really does it for me. Kind of goes back to that motivation, that sense of accomplishment, self-worth, maybe. I think social media does play kind of a role. I was thinking about this too before I hopped on here, as I was scrolling through and seeing people at these pinnacle moments, which you and I both know is a bunch of shit, right? Inflated anyways. And we still kind of compare ourselves to that, and that kind of weighs on you. You get that fear missing out kind of feeling. All these people are doing this and doing that, and you're not. You're doing other things. So plus kids are so goddamn draining sometimes. Let's be a little bit honest here. They will wear you down. The bickering, the arguing, the inner sister battles that I deal with in my house, or telling them to wash their hands 9 times before coming to the dinner table and they still haven't done it. It takes a toll on morale, self-resilience. I don't know the right word. Anyways. All right, so how do we overcome this? How do we get past these rough times, bad days, negative energies, right? How do we get past that? Well, I guess my first tip would be recognizing that you are in this mindset, or you're going down that path of that mindset, and maybe ask yourself why. Jesus, well, this sounds kind of like a 12-step program, doesn't it? Anyways, this is kind of hard sometimes for me to essentially internalize and own up to why I'm acting like a dick, right? No, it's no one else's fault. It's not my family's fault. It's not even really my fault. I mean, everyone's allowed to have a bad day or to not be productive every single day of your life. That's natural, right? We're human. We don't have to act like rainbows are shooting out our ass and everything under the sun is 100% perfect, right? But I think if I can stop and tell my inner self, hey, Justin, let's take a beat here. Just because you're on that struggle bus doesn't mean everyone else around you has to be. So let's recenter yourself, And I kind of think once you make that distinction and recognize that you're feeling or acting a certain way and kind of answering that why, that now you can actively watch yourself and catch yourself and stop that behavior, I guess. And that actually kind of goes to what I would say would be my next tip is actually think before you speak or act, right? Sounds pretty simple, I guess, but sometimes it's not. It's hard to not blurt out a negative thought or snap on someone without thinking, snapping on your kids or kind of being snippy with your wife, whatever. So my feelings in my bad day, are not caused by my wife and kids. Yeah, I mean, family can be hard. Raising kids and parenting is hard, but it seems to me what I've personally noticed is when I get into one of these negative mindsets or have one of these bad days, I tend to read into things much more than I really should. It's like when you read into someone's text, you can put whatever kind of connotation or emphasis or feeling on that message to make it sound angry or rude or curt just by how you read it in your mind, right? And sometimes I tend to do that in my own life, I guess, in real life with my wife. For example, she'll ask me a question after dinner and she'll say, hey, can you help me dry the dishes? And on a normal day, cool, no problem. Yeah, I'll come help you wash the dishes and we'll BS about the day. But for some reason, when I'm being all Eeyore and grumpy, I can almost spin that simple question in my head to, hey, Justin, can you get off your ass and get over here and help me do something? And I know for a fact, 100%, that she never meant it that way, or she never even put that type of connotation on it, but that's how my mind took it in this negative energy that I had around me, I guess. And this goes for kids too. If their behavior triggers me and they're not minding like they typically do, I need to take that step back, even if it's just for a moment, kind of calm down. There's no sense in blowing up over a destroyed toy room or unmade bed or spilled milk at dinner or even accidentally buying season 3 of Talk Soup on the Amazon Fire Stick. Kennedy. Anyways, it just goes back to earlier. Just think before you react. Kids will make messes, spill food. They're going to try to learn on their own and make mistakes, right? I mean, I actually heard I was getting a haircut the other day, and the hairdresser said that a friend of hers young kid, had ordered, I don't know, half a dozen electric scooters off of Amazon using his mom's phone. So mistakes happen, but things can be returned. It's not the end of the world. So also talk to your spouse. That's kind of a big one. It may sound stupid. You think, oh, I talk to my spouse every single day, but it's actually harder than you think. The easy things are talking about the good stuff, talking about the kids, talking about running to the grocery store or paying the AT&T bill or walking the dog or whatever. Those are the easy things, but the things that kind of eat at you or hang you up a little bit, those are the hard ones to bring up. But I think if you do bring those up, it'll make you and your spouse feel a lot better. You'll be vocalizing and saying what bothers you, and I think your spouse will appreciate hearing that, that you're concerned about these things and you want to clear the air, and then, like my wife can explain to me whatever I have an issue with, and I think that makes her feel pretty good. I also like to do this sometimes before we go to sleep. I've used this tip. I've actually given it to some friends, and that was never go to bed angry. You don't want to hold on to certain things and go to bed mad. You're going to wake up the next day, you're going to feel resentful and annoyed. So talk it out, especially maybe right before you go to bed, and clear the air and you'll sleep a lot better, and your spouse, I think, will appreciate it a lot more. All right, here's the last thing before I go is find an outlet. We've kind of recognized we have a negative mindset. We've talked about some things to help with that. And now let's talk about, maybe how not to get into that negative mindset. And that's find an outlet. And whether it's, walking the dog, shopping, playing with your dog, playing with your kids maybe. Personally for me, I like to go to the gym, or I like to even work out here at home or hop on the bike or whatever. Just helps me let out some energy, maybe get out some negative energy and some aggression. Helps me focus my mind. So I really like that. It's a good outlet. I've actually haven't been working out here for the past few weeks, and I can tell by how things are irritating me, or maybe a little bit more, or how I cope, or how I deal with certain situations. Instead of letting them roll off, they're kind of building up a little bit more and becoming more than they should be. So I really need to get back into my outlet, get back into the gym, and focus my mind. All right, so to sum this up today, we want to recognize when we are becoming that negative person and having that negative outlook with that chip on our shoulder, We want to think before we speak. We don't need to snap back with any salty comments to our spouse or anyone else for that matter, really. Think before we act as well, blowing up at people or blowing up at our kids or any of that stuff certainly isn't helpful or necessary. And communicate with your spouse. It's healthy. Everyone will appreciate it. And after you do it once, it'll just continue to get easier and easier. And those things that you usually hold on to and let build up in your life will now be out, and you'll be able to easily talk about them. Oh, and find your outlet. That's right. Let's work towards the light of not getting into this mindset in the first place. And also, sometimes we humans just have bad fucking days, and that's it. There's no amount of recognizing or talking about may change that, and that's okay. You just got to push through, do the best you can, put your best foot forward, and try to make tomorrow a better day. I actually heard a quote the other day. I was watching some Olympic coverage during the news in the morning, and it was Simone Biles. And she said, "I am more than my medals. I am a human being." And that kind of stuck with me, kind of resonated with me a little bit, if that's the right word. And how I understood it, her comment anyways, was that her medals are her accomplishments, right? And she's more than that. She is more than the things that she has done. Now, I'm no medal winner, I guess, but to dumb it down maybe and make it relatable for me in my life is that my daily tasks and the things that I do every day are my little accomplishments, my little medals, let's say. And I am more than those things. It's great that I got a lot done in my world, it's great that I did a bunch of things and checked off things on my list, but those things that I do don't define me as a person, right? Does that kind of make sense, I guess? I don't know. I know we all have other personal accomplishments, we get jobs and promotions and marriage, and we have kids and all that stuff, of course. By the way, speaking of kids, it was my oldest daughter's 7th birthday today. So, happy birthday, Olivia. It's amazing. You are 7 years old. Where's the time go, right? But anyways, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you for listening. Thank you for hearing me rant and rave. And hopefully you got something out of this. If you think a friend or a family member would get something out of it, please share it with them. Also, rate it, review it, whatever you do on there. I'd like to get some feedback, so please let me know how I'm doing. All right, thank you for listening to Stay at Home Dads. We will talk to you again soon.